Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Story number 1. The Raw, Unstoppable Human Power of Music, written by Lloyd Le Diamond. We all know of the human race's rather controversial and explosive entrance into the galactic scene. After the Great War of the Seventh Maw, the Glatheka Uniahoth had surrendered a large chunk of frontier space to the ever-looming Kalonti Operarium. Within this space was a rather strange star system, known as Sol 1, a mysterious yellow dwarf with many planets in spots they shouldn't be, no binary partner, and a large amount of planets, among other things. Among the third planet from the star was a young species known as Humanity. Humans are just as strange, if not weirder, than their home star, but the Kylonti ignored that fact and enslaved the entire planet with much difficulty. What they didn't know was that Humanity had a secret. Now, the secret wasn't a game changer, but it was significant enough that after the terrible conquest took the planet, as they did many others, they outlawed the production or composition and consumption of the secret. What was the secret? Well, it was something unique to Earth. Many animals, apart from humans, practiced it regularly. That secret was music. Music is a strange concept for most galactic residents to grasp. Essentially, music is an art form that consists of patterned sound. This can range from sounds produced through vocalization, and in fact, humans have specialized bodily systems to produce these special vocalizations, of which they call singing. Dedicated devices meant to produce sound such as a guitar, piano, and drum, or even the environment itself. To human, music acts as a form of emotional release and experience, one of the more powerful artificial ones, and exists amongst most other forms of human art that can feature sound. The emotions experienced depend on the sounds produced, along with the accompanying words or lyrics that may or may not be present. Music can also function as a religious expression, or a celebratory one. But none of this was the reason why Kalonti outlawed music. The real reason was that music also had an effect of increasing human production and focus, and acting as a powerful social bonding tool. Two very dangerous tools for an enslaved population to have. Unfortunately for the conquerors, music is too integral to the human experience to ever be fully destroyed. Human slaves would hum, essentially a whisper of music in this context, though hums can be loud, musical tunes together. And due to the lack of natural understanding of music the Kylonti had, it was extremely difficult for them to pick out what was and wasn't music for quite some time. This difficulty led to natural human conversion often being punished, and, ironically, human music without vocalization to be ignored unintentionally. This lyricless music was very percussion-heavy. Now, what does that mean? Well, here's a demonstration. Stomp your foot 3 times at a constant interval. Hear that oomph sound? That's percussion. A hitting sound. Well, humans would tap their feet together in musical ways and would make musical pieces that could amp them up to fight. This also had the aforementioned effect of increasing the prisoners' social bonds, making them a bit more of a cohesive force. Ultimately, music, among many other things, led to the mostly bloody and brutal slave revolt in galactic history. The Kalonti were crippled in that section, and Humanity earned the nickname of the Bloody Brutes. A name so prolific, many people throughout the galaxy seem surprised to learn how small they are. The Kalonti didn't hold Earth for long, only 13 human years, or roughly 14.5 galactic cycles. Significantly less than their average, and after galactic aid was able to make contact and prove that they were there to help, which for Humanity was surprisingly simple, the humans launched their ever-so-infamous campaign against the terrible Conquest. And we all know how badly that went for the Kailanti. Anyways, this has been Garthak, your friend and favorite blogger, with an abridged explanation on the effects of human music on the Kailanti's invasion of their homeworld. To all of you ship captains and harbor chiefs out there, if you have a human working under you, allow them the simple earthly pleasure of music. It'll boost their efficiency, and you don't want to experience the consequences of taking it from them. And as always, goodbye and good nights. End of story. Story number 2. A Fine Specimen, written by Shogun CDN. The blue orb spun silently below the cruiser. Captain Law cleaned his stalks while reading the reports. According to the records, this was an undiscovered planet, and the Slurn were entitled to salvage rights. The populace had not discovered hyperdrives yet, which meant that they would become the Slurn colony by galactic law. Still, he was troubled by what he was reading. High gravity, large predator species, poisonous plants. Did he read that right? Weather extremes. How were the Slurn going to govern such an unruly wilderness? They would need the locals to help them plunder the planet's resources, but so little was known about them. The captain had ordered the crew to obtain a specimen for closer study to see if there was any hope of using these, humans. Suddenly, a klaxon rang out as his screen beeped urgently. It was a request from the detention center. He flicked the button with a pincer, and an underling's panicked face appeared. "Captain, sir, we have an alien has requested, you may want to come down, the underling said, its stalks clearly focused on something else. "Where is the security officer?" the captain asked, curious as to why this underling was asking him to come down. "Sir, the security officer is injured along with much of the security team. I think that he might be dead. The medical chief took him away," the underling replied. The captain rose from his feet and started to make his way to the detention center. The klaxons kept ringing throughout the ship, and he could see crew members scurrying on their four legs. It seemed like the entire ship was in a panic. He made a note to demote the security officer if he wasn't already dead. As he rounded the corner to the detention center, a medical crew rushed by with an armored crew member on a medical sled. The medics were treating his wounds, and the captain could make out cracks in the armor and the exoskeleton of the crew member himself. Purplish fluid leaked from the number of wounds. The detention center itself was a complete chaos. Bodies lay everywhere, and weapons and armor were scattered all over the area. More and more crew members were rushing into the room, trying their best to deal with the humans the scouting crew had captured. In the middle of the storm, the human was a howling frenzy of violence, picking up Slurn crew members like they were children and tossing them aside. The captain recognized a slumped-over figure as one of his most feared and accomplished soldiers. He seemed to be missing a hind leg. He spotted the head xenobiologist and grabbed him roughly by his mandibles. "What in the name of Harfy is going on here?" The scientist had a fearful look, but the captain could see that their fear was of the human and not of the captain. Sir, we obtained the specimen you requested. We found one of them in a state of extreme hibernation in an isolated area. It did not wake even as we approached. It was surrounded by empty bottles of corrosive liquid high in ethanol content. We managed to bind it and bring it to the ship, but when it awoke, it broke free. We've been trying to contain it, but it is much stronger than we anticipated, and its propensity for violence is off the charts." The captain pushed the scientist suddenly as a monitor flew at them, briefly missing them both. The human was even larger in real life than the captain had expected. It moved in an awkward, lurching fashion, but lashed out with the powerful upper appendages, destroying everything and everyone it came into contact with. The captain picked up a pulse rifle as the ship was being torn apart. "You idiot! Our recon showed that the females of the species are smaller and more manageable. Why didn't you tame one?" "Sir, the scientist started to speak, but he was cut off by a security guard landing on him and crushing his stalks. The human looked at Captain Law with hatred in its eyes. "My boyfriend is ridiculous," it slurred. End of story. The algorithm reckons you should be watching this video next, and I recommend that you should be always watching my video. So, click with energy! And yes, clicking that does help the channel. Thank you very much. I just want to give a quick thanks to the Tier 5 patrons and channel members. Alithia, Barky, Fudic Yol, Cam Maxwell, Casper Arnholtz, White Band 420, Lord Asrakal, Arcadian, and Oakfield.